Welcome, everyone, to Season 2 of Murder in Stratton County. The Mystery Saga continues with even more murder, mischief, and mayhem. Written by Elizabeth Spoon and Rylan Mason. Narrated by me, Brian Shepard. Episode 12. More Than One. After Brian suffered not one but two falls, he was certainly starting to feel it as the day dragged on. The Motrin 800 that Jordan brought over hardly touched his pounding head. His new assistant/secretary, Ryan Green, was getting on very well after accepting the position a few months back. Ryan, who previously worked for the governor of New York, decided to stay in Stratton. It might also be because someone fell in love with a certain librarian, Bradley. With the arrest of Debbie, this job kind of fell in his lap. That, and Ryan was not ready to leave his house, which was filled with paranormal activity. It seemed almost everywhere there were ghosts in Stratton. Yet, that's a whole nother story. Literally. It's called A Haunting in Stratton. "Ryan," Brian called out. Ryan was quick to walk in, another coffee in his hands. "Thank you. My, what a nice and clean driveway you have. I noticed on the way in this morning." "Oh, yeah, well, I told Bear I'd be fine. We both drive Jeeps, yet he wanted it plowed, so I would not slip and fall. The plow guy he hired was pleased to do it. Bear tipped him, which he said no one ever does." Brian sat there, remembering the very same conversation he and Jordan had just the other day. "I don't think giving something extra will kill you," Jordan pointed out, as both sat in the drawing room reading the Stratton Gazette. It seems the weather, which was rolling in, was the talk of the town. Diego's weather contributor, retired meteorologist Barney Wilson from News Channel 2 out of Buffalo, has predicted what he calls a whopper of a storm. "The man already charges more than what he should," Brian answered. "Yes, but it would show that you appreciate his work. Trust me, people do not forget kind gestures. Try it. Thaw some of that ice around that heart," Jordan replied. "Excuse me, sir." Cut to the dream sequence. "What is it, Doobie?" "This package just came for you," he said, walking over and placing a small square box on his desk. Someone definitely took the time to wrap this box, as it was wrapped in red and gold paper with a green bow. On the side was an address label, yet no sender. Interesting. Brian slowly began to unwrap the paper from the box. "Doobie, who dropped this off?" Ryan asked. "Kelly, from the clerk's office downstairs." As soon as Brian opened the box, he was up and out of that chair real quick. "What's wrong?" Doobie asked, as he walked around to see what was in the box. Ryan backed up. When Doobie looked in the box, he found more skull and bones, along with what looked like a note underneath. "There's a note in here, so I'm going to call it in. Don't touch anything," Doobie said, as he went back out to his desk to call Sheriff Ratchet. "Ryan, get Kelly back up here, as she will no doubt be questioned," Brian said, as he moved with him out of the office. "The sheriff and the doc are on their way over," Doobie said, placing the receiver back down. "I'm going to step away, if you don't mind," Brian said, which meant he was going for a smoke before Jordan got there. He is supposed to quit. Brian had two options. To the left of the stairwell was the bathroom, or the stairs, which would be a no, as he shook his head, remembering the last time he was in the stairwell alone. Bathroom it is. By the time Brian had shut the door and cracked the window, Sheriff Ratchet and Jordan were standing in front of Doobie's desk. "He's in the restroom at the moment," Ryan said, as Jordan peeked into Brian's office. "Funny, he was just complaining that it was out of order," Jordan said. "He's having a smoke," Doobie replied, not realizing he had just thrown the mayor under the bus. "Hey, Doobie." "Yeah?" "Shut up," Ryan said, with his arms crossed. "Sorry," Doobie answered, while looking at Jordan, who was already out and knocking on the bathroom door. "It's being used. Go away." "Babe, the toilet is out of order, and your guard ratted you out," Jordan said, as Brian opened the door, revealing the lingering smell of a cigarette. "Loudmouth, thanks a lot. So, what's everyone standing around for? There's a skull and bones in that box I just got. And Ryan, I thought I asked for Kelly to join us," Brian asked, looking around in case he missed her. "Yes, sir. I called down to Patty, and she said she had just run over to Alice's to grab lunch. That was 15 minutes ago. I'll call down again," Ryan stated as he went to pick up the phone. "No, go down there and bring her back," Brian said before walking into his office to join the other two. Ryan was quick to head out and downstairs to the clerk's office. The note reads, "Dear Mayor, like your gift? That is what you will look like when I'm done. You thought you had me. Merry Christmas." Signed, The Grinch. The Grinch? Really? If anyone is the Grinch, it's me. So, this means that Debbie is not who you were looking for. However, still connected to this string of murders. Or is this someone playing a game? And to what end? I have no clue why this is happening, or who it could even be now that we have to start over, Brian said, with that tone which everyone knew meant he was getting frustrated. "All right, Brian, calm down. We'll get to the bottom of this," Dugan said, as he took the box aside. Just then, Doobie walked in, alone, and seemed to be out of breath. "Kelly hadn't come back yet, so I ran over to Alice's to see if I could catch her there. Yet Tabitha said she had already left." "So what? She's vanished?" Brian asked. Looking out the window, the snow continued to fall. The one plow truck still trying to keep up. At this point, it would just be a waste. "I believe we're done here. I'll head downstairs and talk to Martha while I have Marks look out for Kelly. Doobie will bring you home. The storm is getting worse, so I would head out while you could," Dugan said. "I agree. My last appointment just left, so I'll meet you at home," Jordan said as he gave a short wave and headed out. Sheriff Ratchet pulled Doobie aside and was talking while Brian gathered up what he needed. He didn't even eat lunch. However, in his bottom drawer was his secret stash, filled with candy bars, jelly beans, and Hostess. All bad stuff that he knows he's not supposed to eat. Grabbing a few candy bars, glazed honey buns, and a pack of smokes, which he also keeps handy, he was ready to head out with Doobie. "Ryan, if you want to lock up and inform the rest of the building we're closing early due to the weather, that would be great. Have a good night, and tell Bradley I said hello." "Yes, sir, and I will. I'll call you later," Ryan finished, as he too was grabbing his coat and keys. Time to face the cold, as the temperature was now -24. Brian was smart this time. He went out the back, and to a waiting cruiser. Doobie must be thinking ahead. The snow at this point was wet and heavy, and there was already close to 8 inches on the ground, with the possibility of more overnight. Not many people at all on the streets as Doobie traveled the somewhat plowed roads. Bank President Kevin Walker was just leaving the bank. "Doobie, keep right. You don't want to hit that pothole up there," Brian said, as he knew the huge pothole was on the right. So as Doobie veered to stay to the right, his cruiser hit the pothole, sending salty mush flying right at Kevin. Kevin, shocked, just stood there, looking at himself, all drenched, while Brian laughed. The snowplow had not plowed old Route 11, it would seem, as Doobie made his way up the road. The mayor, done laughing, turned serious, as some deer decided to step out right in front of them, causing Doobie to swerve, and because of the snow, it sent the cruiser dashing off the road and taking a nosedive down the side and finally hitting the water's edge. The airbags went off as soon as the car's front end hit the water, knocking Doobie out completely. The forward force caused Brian to smash his head against the thick protective plastic barrier, knocking him out as well. After Jordan closed up his practice, he could see police wandering about, most likely looking for the girl from the clerk's office, he thought, as he cleaned off his SUV. As soon as that was done, he was off to head home. The snow at this point in the game was even more heavy, and now that the wind was picking up, this storm was turning more into a blizzard. Without the street lights to guide him, Jordan was on his own after he turned up the road. It was slow going as Jordan made his way up the road, mindful not to get too close to the drop. It wasn't that much further up the road when he came across some branches blocking the road. Stopping, Jordan got out to scope out if he could move it himself, which, after trying a few times, he got it up and out of the way as best he could. Looking around for a moment, Jordan noticed it was quiet. He could faintly hear the water flowing on the other side of the road. A cracking sound had him turning around to look down to see a mama deer standing there, looking right back. 2 little ones running around in the snow. A smile on his face, and now covered in snow, Jordan got back in and continued to drive slowly up the road. Too bad he was on the opposite side of the road, as Jordan would soon come home to just Patricia. More and more snow continued to fall, causing tire tracks and footsteps to be lost. Everything closed up. It was Sheriff Ratchet who was on the phone with Judge Wallencheck. Seems someone wants to talk, only after her tongue out. A statement would be taken from Debbie in the morning. Yet, according to her scribbles, she doesn't have that long. Nor does the mayor.